People who have never actually read the original Little Mermaid will try to tell you that it's some messed up story where her feet bleed and then she dies after giving everything up for a man. But that's like if I said that Disney's The Little Mermaid is about a woman who enslaves and eats people, tricking a minor into giving up her voice after she had almost been devoured earlier in the film. And then when she finally meets humans, one of them tries to boil her friend alive. All of that is stuff that does happen in the movie, but would you call it an accurate description? Or would you say that I took things out of context and left stuff out to make it sound darker than it actually is? That is what people do all of the time with the fairy tales that Disney films are based on, and The Little Mermaid is no exception. Yes, the original Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen is a story about heartbreak and pain, but it's also a hopeful one about being different and being able to find happiness without the need of a man's love. The story is often read as an allegory for the author's own unrequited love for his friend Edvard Collins, who he sent the first copy of The Little Mermaid to after already having professed his feelings for him being that of a woman's. Like Andersen's situation with Colin, The Little Mermaid's prince gets engaged to someone else. The point of her feet feeling like knives is actually to show that this physical pain of being human is nothing compared to the emotional pain of being around someone you love that does not love you back. Her tender feet felt as if cut with sharp knives, but she cared not for it. A sharper pang had pierced through her heart. A big part of this pain is her not being able to tell the prince what she's going through and knowing that she'll soon stop existing because mermaids don't have souls. As I said earlier, Andersen's vision of the future is actually a hopeful one. The mermaid had been told the only way to gain an immortal soul is by getting a human man to love you and share his soul with you. That's why she did all of this, to gain a soul by him loving her back. But after realizing that he doesn't love her that way, she's given the option to either kill him and be turned back into a mermaid or die as sea foam, which a lot of people will try to tell you is ultimately what happened, but it's not. She does choose to let him live and sacrifice herself, but instead of turning into sea foam, she's transformed into a daughter of air, essentially a spirit that will be granted an immortal soul after 300 years of doing good deeds. And earlier, we had been told that mermaids actually suffer more than humans because they're unable to cry. But now, as a daughter of air, at the end of the story, she's finally able to cry. She gets to find happiness without needing a man's love to do it. And she didn't have to kill the man she loves to do it either. People try to take parts of this story out of context to ruin your childhood, just like they try to do with a version of Sleeping Beauty that they've never read and isn't even the version that the Disney film is based on. But it should not ruin your childhood to hear that this story was told differently at some point. And you might find that these stories are actually worth reading. They're not just these one or two scary moments taken out of context from the rest of the story. Some of these scenes might sound gruesome to you, but so would scenes from Disney films taken out of context. None of this is to say that you have to like these original fairy tales or want to read them, but I highly recommend not talking about how dark and gruesome they are without reading them.